like when you get around those people that you're aligned with, when you get around those people that, you know, you guys are all marching towards the same mission and the same drum, if you will, beating to the same drum, those you're going to naturally find ways to say yes to things that you probably weren't exposed to the point where you're not necessarily even saying no to a lot of stuff because you're so engulfed in rocking with the right people that the yeses is really the only option that you can kind of say. So I think it's just the beauty in like when you get around those right people, that right group, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be focused on leveling up. You're going to be just focused on getting to a shared unified mission that y'all all have, and y'all will want each other to win on.
Now, I already know what you're thinking. Where can I get the merch? I'm glad you asked. You can find it at toostubborntofail.com. That's toostubborntofail.com. All right, now let's get back to the show. All right. Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. I'm your host, Darren Perkins, and today we got some energy in the building today. We got some energy in the building. Man, we got the owner and CEO of Crum Co, a dope content creator, and a personal friend of mine.
Keep going.
Trey Crumlin.
Hold up, keep going. The one and only Trey Crumlin. Absolutely. By the grace of God, man, I'm blessed. It's good to be alive. It's good to just have air.
Yes.
It's the little things that people like take for granted. I was out and about Soda City and just observing people. Soda City is like a farmer's market.
Yeah.
And what I learned is, and we're going to get into some of this, it's all about entrepreneurship out there. Like they really want it to be like locally sourced in South Carolina and all this and that. And it was just, to me, amazing the intentionality that people have about just bringing everybody together. People just like being out, having good vibes, good, like, you know, energy. And it's like, that's just little stuff that we take for granted, I think. Like, I mean, we still in the whole pandemic or whatever.
Right.
So, like, just to see people out enjoying each other, enjoying the beautiful weather we have, enjoying the fall, it's just a blessing, man. So, it's good. I'm amazing to be alive. You heard me.
And that kind of brings me into my first point of walking in your purpose. So, being around.
Get right into it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Being around, you know, the collective, like-minded people. Tell me the feeling of being around people who are basically going in the same direction and the energy. How does that feel to be in that room?
I was talking to somebody that I met last night, and it's about how important it is to be aligned with those people, because on your journey in life, you're going to run into your obstacles. You're going to run across different things, and if you're watching, or if you read a book called like How to Win Friends and Influence People, it always talks about saying yes to a whole bunch of different things. Like, you know, you got to say yes to just embrace new opportunities and do different things. But there's also a beautiful intentionality that comes with saying no with a lot of different things as well too. So like, how do you strike that balance? So when I was having this conversation with this person, it was more like, when you get around those people that you're aligned with, when you get around those people that, you know, you guys are all marching towards the same mission and the same drum, if you will, beating to the same drum, those you're going to naturally find ways to say yes to things that you probably weren't exposed to the point where you're not necessarily even saying no to a lot of stuff because you're so engulfed in rocking with the right people that the yeses is really the only option that you can kind of say. So I think it's just the beauty in like when you get around those right people, that right group, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be focused on leveling up. You're going to be just focused on getting to a shared unified mission that y'all all have, and y'all will want each other to win on. Because, and I'm going to drop it and leave it with this, it's like our whole lives we were taught about being independent. INDEPE. And you know my dog, what he said, break it down, make people go crazy. And it's that's a good thing. I think we go from being children to being dependent, and then you become independent. But what people miss on and like really getting to that next level is becoming interdependent, to where I can pick up the phone and call Troop and be like, hey, Troop, I need you to drop that. Yeah. So we can get on these NBA licenses, all this and that. Put that in the universe, because I want to use that one day. So when I have a show, I need that to be on like, oh, they know that song from this and that. So it's about being able to do work with others to really kind of put things in the universe. Like you see all the great, people at the highest level, they leverage other people's skills and their strengths to get them to the next level. So it's all one group and one mission getting there. You heard, man.
Man. And it's funny that you say that because, like, for instance, me with the whole podcast thing. Mm-hmm. Once I made the decision to do the podcast, it seemed like the universe started moving in one accord, and like it was just so easy once I made that decision to, collaborate with people. I haven't gotten anybody to turn me down yet for the podcast. And absolutely. It tells me that I'm doing something that is fulfilling for me, and two, something that is aligned with my purpose. Yeah, because I'm not facing much resistance at all, and I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Then that's a blessing.
I really have a lot of fun, but we could go all day off just this one topic. But I really want to touch on Crum Co.
Oh, okay.
How did that come about? Like, what made you start Crum Co?
I tell people my purpose in life is to pull purpose out of people. Mm-hmm. It started from when my mom was going through her cancer battle. Mm-hmm. She had stage 4 cervical cancer. And when she was going through that, it was tough. And that's what brought me and my sister to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Got to big him up. That's what got us kind of to that. And since she had been cancer-free, once me and my sister had gotten saved. Yeah. So we're telling everybody about how awesome that is. And just sharing her kind of testimony. Right. Then she pulled me to the side one day and she was like, I'm glad that you have that, but that's my journey. You got to go out and make your own path. Mm-hmm. Because at that time I was living on her couch. I had dropped out of school. We were going through it at the time. There was a lot going on during that time frame. But when she dropped that on me, it just made me appreciate the point of intentionality and just spending time with yourself to understand what are you rooted in? What is it that's making you move? Mm-hmm. What are you putting emphasis on to put things in the universe? And then that's when I realized, okay, I got to just be more intentional about it. And once I started realizing that, I had been on an upward trajectory ever since. So fast forward a few years, I ended up getting a job on Wall Street, rotated around the Fortune 500 financial services company, just learned from a lot of amazing people. And it all kind of had that recurring theme of the importance of being intentional behind stuff. And then once you kind of understand why you're intentional about something, you could just really just kind of work towards, whatever that is that kind of fills you up. And then that's when your purpose is going to be revealed or whatever. But if you don't have that kind of initial want to get there, you're going to be kind of stuck in this kind of perpetual wheel. So when you look at Crum Co, I started that because ultimately it's going to be a venture capital type fund where I'm going to be investing in other businesses or other people's missions and other people's kind of ideas and purposes. Because I know for me, that's kind of where it started. So what I'm doing with it is learning the skills of an entrepreneur, figuring out what it is that works, what doesn't work. How can I get better with each iteration with different things that I do? So that way, when I start investing in people, I'm my best self to be a good mentor coach to them. Yeah. So it really started from that initial experience that I had of just getting back to what I'm doing in this life, being intentional, and wanting to spread that amongst other people. So on all the things that I do, I have a Bible scripture, Proverbs 29:18. It says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he who enjoys wisdom is trained by the righteousness of it." So it's really just about appreciating that if you're wise in your ways, if you're focused on that, you're going to get it and level up. Right. So that's kind of what made me start Crum Co. And then we can get into the whole conversation about what a person's purpose is and what it looks like. But that was kind of the genesis of that. Okay. You heard, man. Okay. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, sure. With everything, that you accomplished so far, we always like to give the people, the real. And what are some of the downfalls that you not downfalls? I would say
failures. Failures. I failed one time. But I learned from that failure. That's the beauty of it. It's all about your perception. So I can plainly say I dropped the ball. I didn't meet my expectations. I set a goal to sell 1,000 of my T-shirts, my embroidered T-shirts. Right. To date, I've sold over 250 of them. Okay. I've put that's at a year mark now. So by my standards, I would be expecting a lot more traction. But the thing that I learned from that failure is you can't I don't want to say oversaturate the market, but what's the proper way to phrase it?
I switched sides on you. Why you ain't go to the site yet? TooStubbornToFail.com. That's TooStubbornToFail.com. Go check it out.
The size of the market would only warrant a certain amount of sale without having different types of variations. So like I had that one single shirt, one single design. But the size of my market, if I would have studied that, I wouldn't understand that there's only going to be a realistic expectation is this much. So focusing so hard on my particular market, I missed the opportunity to focus on other markets. I missed the opportunity of, okay, do I really just want to build a brand, or am I going to be solely focused on selling these exact same t-shirts? So if I'm going to go down that path, all right, cool, I got to be more intentional about spreading this message all over the place. So that was a learning opportunity that I had, because I used to cringe at the word failure, but once I just realized and appreciate that what came with that is something far more like valuable. Oh yeah, you take that L, baby, as long as you turn it to a lesson. You know how I go.
Man, you know how I go.
Hey, by the grace of God, that's it.
So, kind of explain some of the payoff of being consistent now, like consistently posting every day, getting your name out there, being at pop-up shops.
Yeah. I think consistency breeds success. Showing it's like you got to fight for mind share for people, because there's so much that we're inundated with each day. And I'm gonna break it down like this. I was talking to a very nice young lady, a beautiful young lady one time. And she was just talking a little cash or whatever about all the stuff that I would be posting. She's like, "Dog, man, why you post like 3 times a day?" Like, yeah. But as she was saying that, her phone was going off buku times. And if you looked at her phone, it was from Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova sent this woman 6 text messages on Thanksgiving Day. Whoa. 6 text messages on Thanksgiving Day, gearing up for Black Friday.
And we think that we're too good to post 3 times a day.
And I can't fight for my 3 times a day. So it's like, yeah, it's great. It's like, it's okay to do that, because these big brands are going to do it. They got the resources, but we just look at them and put them on that pedestal to be like, all right, that's what y'all do. So I think for me, it's a mix of, just naturally being extroverted, wanting to engage with this technology and have fun with it, but then also appreciating that, man, you better fight for your piece of the pie, because them other people darn sure will. You heard me? So like that's really what it is for me. And like, it's a mixture of enjoying it. It's a mixture of just appreciating that, like, you got to fight for that space in people's minds. You got to fight for that space in people's minds. But you got to do it in a way that ain't cheesy. I think that's what I struggled with for a while. It's just, really being intentional about being okay with you, like who you are as an individual, as opposed to trying to get on the latest trends, trying to get on the latest. Like, I've never been a big TikTok dancer. I probably never gonna be, but like, it's so much of that out there that people like feel they need to keep up and catch up on. And the perfect way to illustrate this is I was at the point where I was like just looking at my social media following, it wasn't popping off like I would have liked it to. I was just like, man, I'm frustrated. So like I low-key backed off of it. And that's what made me like stop with the shirts and all this, and I just like kind of fell off. But then one day I was just like, I had just got back in the word, and I just got like really grounded again in who I am, getting back in that intentionality bit. And it's like, I'm going to put whatever out in the universe. I just don't care. And it's just like so relieving. And I remember I was eating a super good steak at this awesome restaurant. And it was just like so relieving knowing that I was letting go of all that. I ended up recording myself just like eating this awesome steak and just like laughing at life and having a good time. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this video. I'm going to enjoy it. And then I didn't even think I was going to post that. But then I saw like another kind of sound that you can put on with Instagram or whatever. Ended up putting it on that video, and come to find out, it got like 500,000 views on Reels, over 300 comments, like 20,000 likes. And it's just like, so I went viral, and it was just ironic, a beautiful type of ironic, where it's like once I realized the need to let go of that, that's when the universe like really just like let me go all in. So that's how we rocking. Yeah, that's how we rocking.
And just to touch on piggyback off of what you were saying, where you basically need to not worry as much about the sales and really worry about being your authentic self on social media, because somebody out there thinks that you're dope, but they don't know who you are yet. So it's more important for you to work on brand awareness and consistency in putting out your content, because once those people find you, they're going to be who you're going to buy from.
That's your tribe.
Yeah.
That's your tribe.
So, putting all your energy into being your authentic self and displaying that for the world is more important than worrying about the sales, basically.
I just say it's like nobody figures it out. Like, and even if once you think you got it figured out, it's going to change the next day. I mean, let's say that you do get it figured out. Cool, like you said, though, the algorithm going to tap in and like like we're going to figure out something, this and that. So like once you stop playing that game of like trying to compete with, the latest trends or staying up on top of this and that. Now, I'm not going to knock any of those like Instagram coaches or brand builders or like people that really build a strategy or intentionality behind that. I respect a lot of that work. But I'm talking about for the solo entrepreneur that is like, I'm just trying to build this content. You can't get caught up in feeling like you have to post buku times a day.
Right.
Because people are going to feel like that's phony. People are going to look right through it. And what people miss is like, we're so focused on growing our audience that we miss on the opportunity to really double down on the people that rock with us.
Right.
Back to that point about like with the t-shirts, like absolutely, I could see myself getting out on the road trying to sell, spread my mission, and that actually, now speaking, I may have to start being more intentional about that as we get into the new year by the grace of God. But there's a missed opportunity to really kind of cater to the Charlotte market, to the Carolina market, where it's like, okay, I'm going to plant my flag on this. Crum Co is going to have this type of flavor for the people in the Carolinas, and it's going to be this and that. It's just understanding and getting clear on what I want my community to be and build off of. So once I really start feeding that and start pouring into that and get outside of the idea of it having to expand, it's like a tree or a plant. Like if you take care of what you plant, it's going to grow and flourish. You just got to really double down on what you're nurturing. You heard me? So that's how we coming.
That's dope.
That's how we coming.
So you did give us some good recommendations for books, but what are you personally reading right now?
Man, I'm still breaking down Powernomics. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not like one of the biggest readers out here. Powernomics is the last book that we read. So for those that don't know, DP and I was in a great book club, awesome book club. We showed up during the whole pandemic and really shared a whole bunch of knowledge. And I think as I look at this stage and like that's where we kind of just nurtured that friendship that we had. So since then, I've picked up a whole bunch of different books. So I think the main two that I'm really diving into is Powernomics, which I'll put this in the universe. I see a day where I have a podcast that just breaks down the dynamics of that book. And I'd have different subject matter experts on each talk about how we can instill a Powernomics 2.0. And Powernomics is just the idea of, being black in America, we can't rely on the systems in place to rectify the wrongdoings that cause the dynamics that we understand today, the malicious dynamics that we understand today. So we have to empower ourselves to get that. So that book was written in the early 70s, mid 70s, maybe 80s, whatever it might have been. So now it's about reimagining that. Because he said if we would have enacted some of that stuff, we would have realized power, if you will, by 2005. You look now, it's more upside down than it's ever been in certain ways and aspects. So I'm reading Powernomics. The other book that I'm reading is Don't Drop the Mic by T.D. Jakes. And I think if I combine those two, I foresee myself really being in a good spot as far as like being able to have a message and then articulating it. Because what Don't Drop the Mic talks about is just appreciating that God gives you a chance to have platforms. God gives you a chance to speak to different people. Don't fumble that opportunity. Come correct. Appreciate the opportunity that you have like this. When you mentioned this podcast, I was like, hell yeah, I'll get on to it because I understand that this could 10, 15 years from now have somebody go back and listen to it and change their life. So Don't Drop the Mic. That's kind of what those are the two that I'm reading right now.
Okay. I have to check those out.
Absolutely.
So What's next for Crum Co? What are you working
on? Two things, and one of it goes off right now. I'm gonna tell the people right here. I've always been big on real estate as an asset class, as an investment opportunity. So we're taking Crum Co to the short-term rental business. And that's what I alluded to earlier. Crum Co is a holdings company for a whole bunch of different things.
Right.
Currently, we do clothing. The next thing that we'll be doing and are doing now is the real estate thing. Okay. So short-term rentals, people tend to think about Airbnb.
Right.
But there's so many different ways to start making money off of what's called short-term rentals. So there are two ways that I'm kind of going down this path. The first being, I bought a property in Charlotte at the end of last year, and I rented it out on a site called Furnished Finder, which is basically Airbnb for traveling nurses, close to a hospital, beautiful location. I got somebody in there relatively quickly. That property is now cash flowing over $900 a month, straight into my account. And each quarter we're going to, take that
and put it right back.
You heard me. And then the other way that we're going to do it is do something called rental arbitrage. So right now we're approaching different landlords throughout the Charlotte market, and we're asking them, if we were to lease your properties, can we put these on either Airbnb, Furnished Finder, VRBO? And I think what I've learned from my process is just the importance of just being focused on one thing at a time. So that's kind of where our focus is now. So our focus will be bringing young professionals that could leverage the work from home environment and go to different cities to enjoy those cities while they work. So places like Charlotte, Houston, Austin, Texas, Tampa, Florida. These are all like places on my radar. Chicago, places on like that. Not only are major cities like New York City, I don't think would fit because people are always traveling there. People can always go. But it's a city that, you've heard of, you see those things happening, but you may not just, be inclined to go just because.
Right.
Think of those places that have like a budding young population. Minneapolis, even during the summertime. Man, I'm telling you, man, that place is cold-blooded, but yeah, facts. So it's like, markets like that, I think that's just the focus. So the goal will be to get to 10 of those. Right now, what I'm super proud of, and if I just look at Crum Co as a whole, I'm most proud of, as I've done different things, it's just gotten better and better and better. I started off with Hazy Beard Bomb, and it was just a landing page where it's like, go to this website, click order, you'll get it in the mail. Then I get to Crum Co clothing. We the Crum Co clothing stepped it up a bit with the packaging, with the quality of the stuff. The landing page, the website was far better. And now as we look at Crum Co Realty, it's going to be the next level of thing this is going to be like the next level, if you will, of systems that I have. And now I have a team around me. So I got I want to call it 6 different people actively engaged. Shout out to Alan, shout out to JP, shout out to India, shout out to, I'm going to forget them all, P, shout out to Crystal. Did I get them right? Yeah, I think that's it. Shout out to Patience, shout out to JB. I've really built a team and have a system in place and put in the money to build it in. Because I think for me, what I was so focused on was just getting stuff out there. Getting stuff out there so I don't stop or letting things stop me from just producing something. But now that I have that on my belt, it's like, okay, how can we just apply some of that intentionality that I know is so important, put the systems in place so that way as soon as we really hit that ground running, we're going to scale. So that's where Crum Co is going. Once I hit 10 of those, then we're going to have a Creole stand, a beignet stand at Soda City Market. And then after that, those will be full service businesses. They're going to be fully devoted. Then we're going to open the coffee shop in probably Charlotte. It's going to be kind of a spinoff of the Creole beignet stand that I'm going to have at Soda City here.
So you just bringing New Orleans down here.
Bring it to me, baby. Absolutely. Yeah, it's inside me. So I'm just going, and that's it. It's and that's what I also learned, and I think that people need to know this, that as an entrepreneur, I learned is I was so focused on bringing stuff that I wanted and putting it out in the universe as opposed to listening to the people and realizing what they would have wanted and providing this to them. So as I look at that real estate game that I'm going to get into, that I'm into now, It's really about having these people that are staying with me have a good experience. Right. I want them to enjoy Charlotte because I enjoy Charlotte. So how can I recreate the stuff that I enjoy so much while they're there and have a good stay? So that's what I think was missing when I first started. When I set out that mission to sell 1,000 t-shirts, it's like I wanted to do that so I could become an entrepreneur, and I know how this works. But our jobs as entrepreneurs is to solve problems, people's problems. So how do you find that problem to solve for people, put it in the universe, and then, leverage it and get that bag? You heard me? Got 2 phones going. We're going over here by the grace of God. But yeah, that's how we're rocking. Did that come from? What book are you reading right now? I'm all over the place, man. I'm all over the place.
No, that was just
that's what you're working on. Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, you answered it.
Yeah, for sure.
The last thing that I always like to wrap up my interviews with is basically you giving me a too stubborn to fail moment of yours, a moment where against all odds you still managed to prevail even when it looked like it wasn't going to happen. How did you make that happen? What was that moment for you?
It's something that you live every day. I think just getting up and appreciating where you're at in life. I'll answer your question, but it's something that I realized today. It's like, man, every day you struggle to fight complacency. Right. You struggle to not be where you are right now. So you can level up. Right. So it's like every day you show up and every day you wake up, you got to understand that this life isn't promised. So you got to really fight for that each and every chance you get. A particular moment that comes to mind is when I was struggling with like a cough syrup addiction that I had. And it was 2012. I was staying at my people's house, sleeping on my mom's couch. And just to go to sleep at night, I would drink like some cough syrup. And I would do this repeatedly for like, about a month. That's a change. And I didn't realize that was like a bad thing. It was just like, I'm gonna take some NyQuil, go to sleep. Like I'm gravy. But then it's just like a continual habit that at one point that I felt like I needed to do that to go to sleep just because like that's what I did. Until one morning, the next day, I must have just drunk so much that I couldn't wake up literally. Like I was awake, my eyes were open, but like I couldn't get my body up. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on right now. So after, a couple of hours of just struggling and dealing with that, I finally got up and I just looked in the mirror and realized I was living beneath my privilege. I was living beneath all of the skills and abilities that I have. I was living beneath everything that everyone spoke over me, that everybody believed in me. I've always been told that, you're going to be amazing, blah, 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 this and that. And I just realized I was living beneath that. So I looked in the mirror and I was like, that's a wrap. And I think that's really when, even though my mom pulled me to the side and mentioned the whole, importance of like developing my own stage, I think that's when I hit that rock bottom in my life to be like, hold up, like what am I doing? But then that's when I realized that God was the rock at the bottom, my foundation to like, all right, boom, you know where you at now. You know where you're rocking. You know how you're coming. How can we build from here? And I've been on the upward trend ever since, doing my thing. I got a property now in Charlotte. I'm going to build a duplex in the Columbia area. It's gonna be amazing. Man. So we just out here, baby. We out here doing it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's just like, and it's just keeping on going. Like, that's so important. Larry June says it so very well. Keep going because like, that's the only way that you're gonna realize that success. That's the only way that you're gonna realize that next level is you have to appreciate everybody that you see that's successful, blah, blah, blah. Like they started somewhere themselves. Right. They had a beginning point. So it's like, where are you going on your journey, and are you going to stop? You don't fail until you quit. You heard me. So that's it. Like, you stubborn. You be too stubborn to fail. You heard me? Too stubborn to fail.
Man, that was dope. That was dope. So where can the people follow you, man?
At Trey Crumlin on Instagram. Trizzy Booming on YouTube. The YouTube channel is about to go down. You heard me? Got the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is going to be focused around my journey towards financial freedom. So we're going to stop trading time for money. So catch me on there, Facebook, Trey Crumlin. And I also want to shout out the team at True Colors. True Colors Brewery out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. They're doing amazing work. You're going to start seeing me do more stuff with them. I think it's at True Colors Brewery. If you just look them up on Instagram, you'll find them there. But they're going to solve the gang violence problem through an awesome media beer, where they have hired local gang members, active gang members, put them through something called Disrupt You, mm-hmm. and it sheds the idea of just this impoverished mindset, and really just teaches them skills in 4 key areas: transportation, relationships, finances. Oh, there's one more, and I'm drawing a blank, but y'all tap in what they're doing. They're doing amazing things. I'm rocking with them, so be on the lookout for more of what they do. Okay. But just empower. I rock with them because it's a similar message. Right. All about empowering the end person, mm-hmm. the individual. Right. Because ain't nobody gonna come in this life to save you. So yeah, those are the different places you can catch me. And then, of course, you can catch me on the Two Stubborn to Fail podcast. Hey. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir.
Hey, well, there you have it. And this has been another dope podcast. I'm your host, Darren Perkins. We had Trey Crumlin on today.
The one and only Boomer!
All right.
Yes, sir.